Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. It's time for the Astrology and Kabbalah of October 2022. Today, we're going to look at the numerology. We're going to look at the connections to the Tree of Life, what chakras are activated, and perhaps the first week of October. Depending on how long the video goes, I may make that a separate video. So you can keep your eyes peeled for that. All right, everyone, let's get started. So we're going to be looking at the Astrology and Kabbalah of October 2022. We're going to start with the numbers and the paths on the Tree of Life. So the numbers are as follows, and I took this information from a book called Numerology, Spiritual Light Vibrations by Jean. Monthly vibration, of course, in October is a 10, and that is a 10-1 monthly vibration. It says that this energy will allow you to have the opportunity through a new beginning to create justice for all. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Justice for all. Universal year vibration. This is the year vibration that we've been pointing out since January of 2022. And that is a 6. And according to Jean, she says, be prepared to respond in a flexible manner to any changes in your life. Home and domestic situations are most important. Keep a positive attitude so you do not suffer depression or inertia. And then when we add those two vibrations together, we get the unique vibration of October 2022, which is a 10 plus 6, which of course is 16. And the 16 is the 16-7 awakening vibration. This is a karmic vibration that brings the opportunity to transform and transmute, to tear down and to rebuild. The key word here is awakening. So the key work here is awakening. A flash of intuition or understanding, a bolt from the blue that brings an awareness we did not have before. In the tarot, this is also known as the lightning struck tower, a bolt of lightning that brings clear understanding, the symbol of the electrical serpent forces or the Kundalini. So this is a very powerful time of change, a willingness and a necessity to move along with that change, to awaken to things that you did not know before, to be aware and awake and ready to be your true self, 7. So we look at the 10-1 vibration on the Tree of Life. This is found on the path that connects Hesed, the Sephiroth of Mercy, with Netzach, Sephiroth of Victory. This path is associated with the planet Jupiter, which is in Aries until October 28th, when it retrogrades back into Pisces. So it's going to be in Pisces from October 29th until December 19th, I believe. That is the last sort of period of time where Jupiter is going to be in Pisces. So it's an important time for wrapping things up. Pisces being the last sign of the tropical zodiac. When a planet goes through all 12 signs, the last sign is considered to go through is Pisces. And so this actually wraps up a whole 12-year cycle that actually began back in 2010, so we can go back to that. So there are things from 2010 coming up to be healed, to be wrapped up. So this path is called the 21st path, the path of the conciliating intelligence. If you hear a vibration, that's just somebody with a really loud bass passing my house. Sorry about that. The wheel of fortune turns. It is the wheel of karma, chance, return, and consciousness. The wheel tells us of the endless rotation of day and night, earth and skies, the seasons, the years, and the rise and fall of humanity through endless cycling of birth, fortune, and death. The key is to remain centered in the wheel while observing the ups and downs of life. The great equalizer as the mighty fall and the meek rise. The only constant here is change. The sixth vibration is associated, of course, with the Lover's card. Choices are made under this vibration. Found on the path that connects Vaina, the Sephiroth of understanding, to Tiphareth, Sephiroth of beauty, called the 17 path, the separating or disposing intelligence. This is associated with the sign of Gemini. Mars is currently in Gemini and is facing a retrograde cycle that will begin on October 30th and keep Mars in Gemini till March 2023. The lovers represent the sword that slashes down through the cosmos, separating the whole of us into discrete forms. The sword distributes gender and polarity through the universe, calling the tension of opposites. Creating the tension of opposites, excuse me. It is the force that takes the limitless substance of the universe and categorizes it. Through Zayn, we know ourselves as individual and unique. Zayn is the Hebrew letter associated with this path. We'll look at that a little bit later. On another level, key 6 symbolizes the royal exalted marriage, the marriage of the emperor, key 4, and the empress, key 3, to give birth to the son's son, S-N-S-U-N, of God in Tiphareth. Tiphareth is associated with sons and sacrificed gods such as Jesus, Mithra, Osiris, Dionysus. And then we add these two vibrations together and we get the 16-7. This is the path that connects Netzach, which is the Sephiroth of victory, and Hod, the Sephiroth of splendor, located exclusively within the solar plexus, the fire chakra, and the chakra associated with transformation. The 27th path is called the activating intelligence. It is the Tower card. This path is associated with Mars, and Mars is presently in Gemini and will be there until March 2023. The path of the Tower is completely in the lower self, the battle between the mind and heart, attempting to seek balance. Personal will, or a battle of wills, can be seen here. Personal will is developed in this place. Sudden elimination and lightning flash activate and or excite the truth. Destruction of outmoded forms. The higher challenge demands that you break out of old structures. The Tower is the key of rapid and destructive change to a higher state of form. The Tower represents a place to be isolated in order to understand. It is a 7, and 7 is about knowing yourself. And ultimately, the function of the Tower is to awaken you to your own magnificence as a spiritual being having a human experience. Okay, now we're going to look at the chakras associated. Now, as we look at this graph here, we can see that on each level of the tree of life, we can connect a chakra. We have the root chakra associated with Malkuth, kingdom, the sacral chakra associated with Yesod, the foundation. The navel or solar plexus chakra associated with Hod and Netzach. This is the path between Hod and Netzach, and we can see it right here, the 16-7 path. The heart chakra is associated with Tiphareth. the throat with Gebura and Hesed. Gebura is breaking down, Hesed is building up. The path in between is the path of the strength card. That's the strength card right there. We can see here that this path, which is the 10-1 vibration, the Wheel of Fortune, connects our throat chakra, the fifth chakra, with the third chakra. The fifth chakra is divine will. The third chakra is personal will. When these paths become activated, excuse me, we don't have any control of what happens to us, save for the perspective we have on what happens to us, how we respond, what happens to us. That is true on this path, the 10th path, I mean the 10-1 path, and also this path on the other side, which is the Hanged Man. So in both the Hanged Man and the Wheel of Fortune, we are not in control. And these paths remind us of that the energy comes from above, down, inside and out. Here we have the 10-1 path. Here we have the throat chakra, I spoke of that. We also have up here the third eye, and that's associated with Baina and Hokmah. Now Baina, this path right here, is the path of the sixth vibration. See, right here. And these colors are the colors associated with these paths magically. This is the path that is active all year of 2022. All year, this is pumping. Then we have the crown associated with Kether, which also means crown. So here we have all 7 chakras, and here we have the paths that are activated and can tell us which chakras are activated this month. Through this, all the chakras are active all the time, but these are the highlighted chakras. We start with the path between Baina and Tiphereth, which connects, which activates both the third eye chakra, which is known as Anja, which means to perceive or command, and command, and Anahata, the heart chakra, which means unstruck, the sound of creation. And we can see here the connection to the third eye is through Baina. Baina is associated with the planet Saturn. Right now we have Saturn in Aquarius, so we can see Saturn in Aquarius. Now this path, the 17th path, to the disposing intelligence, which provides faith to the righteous, and they are clothed in the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is Baina. The Holy Spirit is the divine feminine, and the divine feminine is found in Baina. This is the active intelligence they speak of in esoteric studies. This path, the path of Zion, this is Zion, the Hebrew letter meaning sword. The 6th vibrational path. We have Saturn in Aquarius. Now next year, Saturn is going to move into Pisces. So this is going to have a more Piscean vibe than Aquarius. But right now, in the month of October, we have the sun, which is what is in Tiphereth, in Libra. And then on the 23rd, it moves into Scorpio. So mostly the sun is in Libra, and part of the time the sun is in Scorpio. Aquarius and Libra are both air signs. So this path is quicker, and nothing really preventing it from things happening on it. And Libra is karmic justice, right? And then we have Scorpio. And Scorpio is actually square Aquarius. In fact, it's square, and it's a last quarter crisis in consciousness square. So we're being asked to reorient our relationship to authority, reorient our relationship to power, reorient our relationship to our own ability to be responsible for ourselves. That, because it's a square, is going to be a little bit more crisis producing. So things, this path has things that happen very quickly, very much exactly as you would hope it to happen when it comes to issues like justice and the like. And yet there are still some more emotional issues and some shadow work that has to get worked out through this Saturn Sun experience with the Sun being in Scorpio and Saturn being in Aquarius. This will be felt more in November, because then in November we have the square, I believe, Aquarius to the Sun, and that is going to be an important day for this path, the disposing intelligence, which provides faith to the righteous, and they are clothed in the Holy Spirit. And here we can say this is where the path is on the tree of life. And now we're going to look at the path, the 10-1 path, the path of Jupiter, the Wheel of Fortune, which connects our third chakra, which is Vishuddha, which means purification, and Manipura, our solar plexus. And this is the chakra. Manipura means lustrous gem. This is the place of divine will. This is the place of personal will. This is the path that divine will comes, the conciliating intelligence, because it receives divine influence like this, which flows into it from its benediction upon all and each existence. That is, benediction is Hesed. Hesed is benefic, Jupiter, the greater benefic. Here in Netzach, we're dealing with Venus. Now, if we look at Jupiter, Jupiter has been in Aries. Jupiter has been in Aries for a little while, right? It moved into Aries and has now backed out, and will eventually back out of Aries and move back into Pisces. I spoke of this. From October 1st to the 28th, for most of October, Jupiter is in Aries. And on October 28th, Jupiter moves back into Pisces, where it will be till December 19th. But this path, like this at this moment, right? We're in a path that's activating this Jupiter in Pisces, even more so perhaps than it does in November. So this period of time, these last 3 days of October, are an opportunity for some pretty profound healing, I would think. We have Venus from October 1st to October 23rd in the sign that she rules. She is in her dignity in Libra. She is, however, in her fall, I believe, when she's in Scorpio. So Venus functions a little better up to the 23rd, and when she gets to the 24th, and it goes further than the 31st, of course, it goes into November. But this is Venus in Scorpio is, what's the word I'm looking for? Relentless and unwavering. This is the 21st path called the Conciliating Intelligence. Oh, I said this already, right? Sometimes I repeat myself. Sorry about that. Here we have the Hebrew letter Kaf, which means fist. That's why we have a little purple fist here. And the 10-1 vibration. Of course, Jupiter, as we said, this is the path of Jupiter along the path, but it's also the Sephiroth of Jupiter. So these Aries, Pisces, things I said also have to do with the path as well as the Sephiroth. Okay. And the Tower, the 27th path, the path of the activating intelligence. They call it that because through it, every existent being receives its spirit and motion. It is associated with the planet Mars. Mars is in Gemini. And so we have the 6 vibration, which is the Lover's card, which activates, activates the energy of Gemini. And here we have Mars being activated through the vibration, and Mars is in Gemini. So this is an opportunity to speak, to gather information, curiosity, put your information out there. There is a period of retrograde motion that actually doesn't, Mars retrograde doesn't start until the 30th of October. A lot of what you are experiencing, trying, exploring will be reviewed 3 times. Because Mars moves back to 9 degrees, about 9 degrees of Gemini. So from, say, 10 degrees of Gemini to the point where it goes retrograde, which is, I think, 25 or 26 degrees of Gemini. It's going to go all the way back to 10 and then all the way back this way. So a lot of things that are happening will go back on it and back and forth. So there's a real back and forth energy, but it's also, we need to keep curiosity peaked. Now, that being said, Gemini is a sign that's ruled by Mercury, and so it's disposited by Mercury. So Mars is Mars, it's forward motion. Mars retrograde is considered motion, considering forward motion, or forward motion that's quite considered. But it will be disposited by different energies throughout its retrograde period because Mercury changes signs through that period. From October 1st to October 10th, Mercury is going to be in Virgo. Now, this is part of a Mercury retrograde cycle that we had. So during this period of time, it's pretty much retrograde on the 1st, on the 2nd, it goes direct in Virgo, and it takes till the 10th to exit Virgo. So those first 10 days of October are very important to taking action to fix things that need fixing. And we've had time to sort of evaluate and see how we want to go about it. This is a golden period for you to actually do some stuff. Mercury is direct, and while this will be reviewed later on, it doesn't mean that it's not significant and important to do. And then from October 11th to October 29th, we have Mercury in Libra. Mars is still direct during this period. This can be renegotiation of contracts, renegotiating lines, boundaries, putting up boundaries, putting a stop to things, the rule of law, perhaps in this period of time. And then on October 29th, Mercury moves into Scorpio. By this time, on the 30th, Mars goes retrograde. And so there is this going back to the past energy here, and we have to keep in mind that the south node of the moon right now is in Scorpio, and Saturn has been squaring the nodes of the moon for months and months and months and months, and still is squaring the nodes of the moon. And that requires us to go to the past, to examine the shadow, to heal, to forgive, to let go, and so we can move in the direction of life. So there's a lot of forgiveness that has to happen, and a lot of movement towards life and the future. In the future, we also see that Venus is associated with this path, right? We have Venus on this side. Venus is in Virgo. Venus is in Libra until the 23rd, and then she moves into Scorpio. So the beginning of the month is the beginning and the middle of the month are generally good times for things to happen. It is towards the end of the month that Scorpio sort of moves in, and there's a lot of shadow stuff that we have to work through. And I think we may even see quite a bit of shadow out there. So this is a time, when, and this is connected to when the Sun and Venus move into Scorpio on the 23rd. Saturn goes direct on the 23rd and of October. And one other thing, this is when we start to really we may start to see the shadow stuff happening. So just be aware. And remember, this is, we have the tower that's activated here, okay? All right. And Manipura means lustrous gem. Our solar plexus is our ability to get our will met, get our will done, my will be done, as opposed to thy will be done. But Manipura, the meaning of Manipura, lustrous gem, indicates that Manipura can be used by spirit, if you are clear, if you have a clear intention here, spirit can use you for the expansion and the betterment of the awakening process, And even though Mars is in Gemini right now, whatever whatever sign your Mars is in, and how your Mars is active in your chart is also active. It doesn't have to be in Gemini, it just has to be Mars. So how are you using your Mars? What are you doing with your Mars in October? Okay. All right, we're going to do the first week. I think about it, there's a lot to say. First week of October, October 1st to October 8th. And I'm doing this on the 3rd, so a couple of these things have already happened, but definitely worth speaking of. On October 1st, which is a 17-8 vibration, when you add all the numbers up, that's the star card, for those of you who wonder. We have Venus making an opposition to Jupiter at 4 degrees of Libra Aries. Venus opposing Jupiter. On Sunday, October 2nd, we have a first quarter moon in Capricorn. First quarter crisis in action moon. This is the first crisis that needs action from that new moon in the sign of, was it Virgo? Libra. I'm sorry, Libra. It was like right at the beginning of Libra. That's when our kitty cat came to live with us. Walked into our yard in the new moon in Libra. So we had a new relationship. We also have on the 2nd Mercury stationing direct. Yay! At 25 degrees of Virgo. Thursday, October 6th, we have Mercury make a trine to Pluto. Very powerful. Trine, there's nothing in the way with a trine. And so Pluto is our soul, Mercury is communication. This is direct communication from the soul. And it's on a 22-4 vibration day, which is the vibration of the Fool card, new beginnings on a new path. Saturday, October 8th, we have Pluto stationing direct at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Let's look a little closer into this, what's happening this week. So this is the first thing I spoke of that happened on Sunday. And we have Venus making an opposition here. There's Venus, 3 degrees, 2 minutes of Libra. So we round that off to 4 degrees. And we have Jupiter at 3 degrees, 2 minutes of Aries. Rounded off to 4. Oppositions always bring awareness. So we're becoming aware of something. Jupiter is considered the greater benefic. Venus is the lesser benefic. Perhaps we're becoming aware of where we are very lucky at this time, or what we perhaps need to be grateful for. 4 degrees of Libra, where Venus is. Venus rules Libra, so it's powerfully placed. Around a campfire, a group of young people sit in spiritual communion. Fire, in a circle, spiritual communion. Opposite Jupiter, which is at 4 degrees of Aries, 2 lovers strolling on a secluded walk. The progressive polarization of energies needed for fulfilling one's life function. This harkens back to the Lover's card, actually. And this symbol speaks to me of Sagittarius. And of course, that is Jupiter's ruling planet. So there is this sense of Sagittarius and Gemini, even though it's Libra and Aries, but it brings in that Sagittarius Gemini energy. This is a point of awareness of the seeds planted when Venus and Jupiter conjoined at the end of April. That was April 30th of 2022, vibrating for 40/4. That is the Page of Cups, right? This is a message. That conjunction occurred at 28 degrees of Pisces. The Sabian symbol for that is a fertile garden under the full moon, reveals a variety of full-grown vegetables, the full satisfaction of individuals' basic needs. Where do you need to be grateful? Where are your needs being met? It's important that you see it. Now, if you see on this day, we have a giant T-square, not a T-square, mutable cross, a mutable cross here with the moon and Mars. There's the Gemini Sag energy. And then we have Mercury up here and we have Neptune over here. So all of the mutable signs are being represented here. And incidentally, these are activating Trump's chart big time, in case you were wondering. Not that I really want to mention his name. He whose name should not be mentioned. He's got nothing on Voldemort, that guy. All right, here we have Mercury station. Here it is, Mercury right here. This is a chart for the U.S. It's erected for Washington, D.C. We have Mercury stationing, and we also have a Mercury rule chart. So this is really about rolling up your sleeves and fixing what's broken now as we move forward with this Mercury. 25 degrees of Virgo, which is where this is occurring, a flag at half-mast from a public building, the social acknowledgement of a job well done and a destiny fulfilled. So for some, this is the end of the road, but thank you. Thank you. For others, it's roll up your sleeve time. It's roll up your sleeve time. I actually have had 3 people one of which I knew very well, one of which I considered a friend, although he was a bit of an enigma. So to know him is, well, to know him is to love him, but he wasn't easy to know. But he was a lovely person. And then a friend of mine's mom just passed away. So there's been a lot of people leaving. Of course, that's been going on for a while. Some surprising, some not. But thank you for the work you've done in the light, shining the light. On the 6th, which is day is that? Sorry, it's a Thursday. On Thursday the 6th, we have Mercury making a trine to Capricorn, to Capricorn, to Pluto in Capricorn, Mercury in Virgo. Now, this is powerful because Mercury is still pretty, even though it's stationed direct, it takes a while for it to catch up. It moves very, very slowly in the beginning. So that slow movement of Mercury brings with it a lot of power forth from that retrograde period. So it's like all the stuff that you had to re-look at. You're holding all those files, and as you move forward, and what was evaluated in that retrograde period is put out forward, and then it's like you're just handing files off as you're moving, as Mercury moves forward, and distributing the work that you've done, so it gets lighter and faster. But in the beginning, it's slow. And so because we're dealing with Mercury relatively slow, and Pluto, which is also tomorrow, the next day, right? Pluto goes direct. So both of these planets are moving. Well, Pluto is sitting still for the most part, and Mars is just about moving forward. So this is a huge, huge shift in the power dynamic. And Pluto is the world's soul, and Mercury is our ability to communicate. So we need to keep our ears open for what's happening, and also what's happening in our own lives. So Mercury, a group of aristocratic ladies meet ceremonially at a court function. This kind of makes sense right now because with all the queen stuff. The ability to carry on a revered tradition in order to perpetuate cultural standards of excellence. That's one way to look at it. Trine Pluto at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Pilgrims climbing the steps leading to a mountain shrine. The ascent of the individualized consciousness to the highest realizations reached by the spiritual leaders of its culture. And so there is the energy of sharing a wisdom, a traditional wisdom here. And so we are in the Aquarian age, or we're certainly as close as we've ever been to I think we're in it. We're actually in it, but it's a process, right? Just like awakening is a process. But I feel as though we don't want to, even though it's Aquarian, we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Things that work and continue to work need to be also depended upon. And in that, we'll see how strong they really are, right? And we'll see how they hold up in a new sort of reality. I think what we need to refocus, however, is our intentions. And of course, the intention of light and love and healing and opening and working together to create heaven and earth, heaven on earth, is a wonderful way to utilize this very powerful energy that we have being exerted at this time. Okay. Oops. I have no idea what that was about. Okay. I am like lost over here for a second. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. All right, I'll be right back. And lastly, Pluto stationing direct to 27 degrees of Capricorn. Pilgrims climb the steep steps leading to a mountain shrine. Keyword here is a breaching. This is forward motion of Pluto moving through Capricorn. Pluto will actually move out of Capricorn on this sort of swing in the direction of Aquarius and spend a little time in 2023 in the sign of Aquarius. So this 2022 is the last full year of Pluto in Capricorn. And Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. And Pluto transforms, transmute, blows up, death and rebirth, Pele. This is Pluto. And so as it starts this retrograde, as it starts this direct motion, a lot of what we have worked up to this point, right, is being revealed, perhaps. Here is Pluto here, stationing. We have Mercury, right, trining, just coming off of retrograde. So this is very, very important. This is the US chart. This is the house of the president, 10th house. This is the house of the military. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Also want to point out that Uranus and Saturn at this point are as close as they're going to be, really. And it really comes to a head towards the end of October at that new moon's solar eclipse, south node eclipse. On the 25th of October. So Pluto changing direction you will often see something in the outer world. You will see something in the outer world. So just keep your eyes open for that stuff and shine your light. Okay. Okay, everyone. Hi. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe. If you enjoy this type of information and you find it interesting, you can always take a class with me. You can reach me at my website, thesiegeoftransformation.com. There is an event page that will tell you when new events are happening, new classes. You can also get a reading with me if you would like. Astrology, Kabbalah, I have hour readings. I have hour and a half readings. If it's your first time, I usually suggest the hour and a half reading. There's a lot of information that we go over. All of them are recorded, and I do send you the charts, so you'll have the charts and you'll have the recordings. If you have had a reading with me before and you just want to know what's up and what's happening, you can always do the hour reading, but whatever you like, it's available. And once you pay for the service, you will be given an option as to what days. And if you're a new patient, if you could please fill out the new client questionnaire, which you'll find on the Contact Us tab. If you send me that first, I do not have your email. So if you've sent me something and are waiting for a reply, if you've filled out a new patient questionnaire and are waiting for a reply, I don't have a way to reply to you. You actually have to purchase the reading first, or you can just email me and, we can work it out that way. All right, guys, have yourself a wonderful day, and I will see you again in a week to do the second week of October, and see you next month for the astrology, for the Kabbalah of November, which promises to be pretty amazing. All right, guys, much love. Namaste.